If I had to start my business all over again from scratch, there are a few things I do very differently. I don't mean that in a regretful way, but in a wiser, more focused, more foundational way. Because when you're just starting out, it's easy to get swept up in doing all the things and forget to actually build the thing. In this episode, I'm walking you through the exact areas I would focus on first if I were launching a business today. Whether you're brand new or just feeling the need to revisit your foundations, this is your roadmap. We're going to journal, reflect, and get super clear on the pieces that make your business sustainable, aligned, and magnetic. So grab a notebook or open your notes app, because this is a true coaching style episode, and we're going to turn messy ideas into something strong, sparkly, and oh so strategic. Hey there, I'm Cassandra, the colorful creative behind Pretty Pineapple Bead, and your host here at Sparkle and Shine, the podcast for small biz dreamers who are ready to grow with purpose, color, and confidence. If you've been listening to the show for a while, you've probably noticed that many of my episodes recently have been personal updates, real life behind the scenes about going full-time, rebuilding momentum, and navigating mindset shifts. But today's episode is going to be more educational. We're shifting into biz coaching mode because one of my biggest goals with this podcast is to help you build a business that you love, one that reflects who you are and grows with you over time. This episode is for you if you're just starting out or if you're in a season of refining what your brand is really about. I'm going to use Pretty Pineapple Bead as an example throughout the episode, sharing what I've learned, what I wish I knew, and how you can apply these lessons to your own journey. First up, foundation number 1. Start with your why. Let's begin at the very heart of your business, your why. And I'm not talking about surface level stuff like, I want to be my own boss, or I want to make money doing what I love. Those are absolutely valid reasons, but your core why goes even deeper. Your why is the emotional heartbeat of your brand. It's the anchor you come back to when things feel unclear or overwhelming. It's what keeps you going when sales are slow or motivation dips. It's the heart of your business. And trust me, your audience can feel it when you're rooted in it. For me, when I first started Pretty Pineapple Bead, my why was rooted in creativity and healing. Making jewelry was my happy place. It gave me peace after stressful work days and helped me decompress when life felt too loud. I started creating not to launch a brand, but because it simply made me feel good. It felt calming, empowering, like I was doing something that was just for me. Eventually, people started asking if they could buy the pieces I made. And little by little, the business began to take shape. But even then, my why wasn't about profit. It was about how I felt wearing my own jewelry. Confident, colorful, and put together. And wanting to help other women feel that same spark when they put on something beautiful and bold. As Pretty Pineapple Bead grew, so did my mission. Now, my why is about empowerment. I want women to see themselves in my brand, to feel seen, celebrated, and inspired to be the most colorful and confident version of themselves. Jewelry is just the vehicle. The real gift is how it makes you feel. And here's the thing. Your why might evolve over time too. That's okay. What matters is staying connected to it, because it will shape every other part of your business, from your dream customer to your marketing and your offers. So here's a couple journal prompts for you to work through. Why are you starting or continuing to run your business? What made you fall in love with creating, designing, or helping people in the first place? When do you feel most aligned in your business? And what kind of impact do you want your business to have on others? Take a few moments to really reflect. If your why brings up emotion, you're on the right track. That's your passion speaking. Foundation number 2, define your dream customer. If your why is the heart of your business, Your dream customer is the soul you're speaking to. One of the biggest mistakes I made early on was trying to market to everyone. I thought, well, my jewelry is colorful, fun, and handmade. Who wouldn't love it? But that mindset left me spinning in circles. My messaging was vague, my content felt scattered, and honestly, I didn't know how to connect with anyone. Here's the truth I had to learn the hard way. If you're talking to everyone, you're actually talking to no one. Once I started getting really specific about who I was trying to reach, everything started to shift. I imagined her as a real person. I gave her a name, Mia. I gave her a personality and a lifestyle. Initially, I found the idea of a dream customer to be so abstract and confusing. Then I started asking myself more and more questions about who she really is, like, what does she love? What does her day look like? How does she want to feel when she gets dressed? What inspires her to shop small or treat herself? My dream customer is a woman named Mia, who's a lot like me, only she's a few steps ahead of me. She's in her late 30s, loves wearing bright, bold colors, and deeply values confidence and creativity. She doesn't have children, but she hopes to have some someday. She's nostalgic, outdoorsy, kind-hearted, and future-focused. She sets goals, writes lists, and expresses her creativity through what she wears. She's your hype girl and your vision board bestie all in one. The biggest difference between us? She has just a bit more disposable income than I do, and she's already living the colorful, confident life that I'm working towards. She is my inspiration. And because I know who she is, I know how to talk to her. I know what kind of content to create, what colors she's drawn to, and how to write captions that make her feel like I'm speaking directly to her. Getting specific doesn't mean you're excluding people. It means you're building a brand that speaks clearly, confidently, and deeply to the right people. Here is your next set of journal prompts. Who is your dream customer? How old is she? What does she care about? What problems is she facing that your product, service, or message can help solve? What kind of content would make her stop scrolling? And how do you want her to feel when she interacts with your brand? Whether you're just starting or you've been in business a while, this is a great time to revisit who you're creating for and make sure your content, products, and messaging all line up with her world. Foundation number 3, build your brand identity. Now that you've got a clear sense of your why and your who, let's talk about your brand identity, because this is where everything starts to feel real. Your brand identity is more than just your logo or colors. It's the way your business feels when someone lands on your Instagram, opens your email, or shops your website. It's the vibe that makes them stop and think, this is for me. When I first started Pretty Pineapple Bead, I leaned heavily into visual branding. I used pineapples in every single photo. My vibe was bright, bold, and tropical. Over time, I've refined that look, but my love for color and playful energy has always been at the center. I've since expanded my color palette to include golden yellow, lime green, hot pink, teal, and purple, all colors that radiate joy and creativity. I still use pineapples as a recognizable symbol, but I've learned that consistency is more important than forcing the same prop in every post. And honestly, that permission to evolve visually gave me more freedom to grow as a creator. Here's something I want to emphasize. You don't need to look all polished and professional in the same way that big corporate brands do. You just need to look and feel like you, because people aren't buying from a business. They're buying from a person they feel connected to. Think about it. What colors, fonts, and photos capture the heart of your brand? What emojis do you find yourself always using? Are your captions chatty and fun or calm and encouraging? These details matter. They help build trust and recognition. Your dream customer should be able to spot your content without even seeing your logo because the vibe is just that strong. For Pretty Pineapple Bead, my identity is all about playfulness, positivity, and empowerment. It's about embracing color in a world full of beige. I want my customers to feel like they've stepped into a joyful, creative space where their boldest, brightest self is celebrated. So here's your next set of journal prompts. What 3 words would you use to describe your brand personality? How do you want people to feel when they interact with your business? If your brand were a room, what would it look like? What music would be playing in that room? And are you visually communicating the energy you want your audience to feel? Take your time with this. You don't have to nail it all at once, but the clearer your brand identity becomes, the easier it will be to create content, products, and messaging that feel aligned and authentic. Foundation number 4, carve out your niche. Let's be real. Finding your niche can feel like one of the most confusing pieces of starting a business. I used to hear that word and think, I don't want to box myself in. But here's what I've learned. Your niche isn't a box. It's a bridge. It helps your dream customers find you, trust you, and buy from you because you're speaking directly to them. When I started Pretty Pineapple Bead, I tried to make jewelry for everyone. I had a little of this, a little of that. My messaging was vague, my designs were scattered, and my ideal customer? I didn't really have one. I was making what I liked without knowing who it was for. And the result? I struggled to stand out. Over time, I realized that my favorite customers, the ones who raved about my work, came back again and again, and shared my brand with others, had things in common. They loved bright colors, nostalgic touches, and anything that made them feel expressive and confident. That's when I started claiming my niche. Colorful, handmade, confidence-boosting jewelry. It's not dainty, it's not minimalist, it's bold, joyful, and playful. And that's what sets Pretty Pineapple Bead apart. Here's the thing. Your niche is about who you serve and how you serve them differently. It's the intersection of your style, your values, and your customers' desires. So instead of asking, what's my niche? Try asking, what do I love creating the most? What kind of people are naturally drawn to my work? What's different about the way I show up or talk about my products? What part of my process or aesthetic sets me apart? Let's say you make candles. That's not a niche. But if you make nature-inspired soy candles for women who crave calm after a chaotic day, now that's more of a niche. It's specific, it's emotional, and it helps people self-select. For Pretty Pineapple Bead, I realized I wasn't just selling jewelry. I was selling confidence. I was helping women feel like their boldest, most creative self, even if they were just running errands or working from home. That's the transformation. That's the power of a niche that connects. Here's a couple journal prompts that go along with finding your niche. What transformation do your products or services create for your customer? What makes your business different from others in your industry? Who is your dream customer not? And who is your brand not for? If you could be only known for one thing, what would it be? Don't worry if you're still figuring this out. Your niche can evolve, but getting specific now will help you build stronger messaging, content, and offers that attract the right people instead of just everyone. Foundation number 5, vision, values, and long-term goals. Let's talk about something that often gets overlooked in the rush to start a business. Your vision, your values, and your long-term goals. These things might not feel urgent when you're still figuring out how to list a product or post a reel, but they're so important because your vision is what anchors you. It's the big picture why that keeps you going when sales are slow or self-doubt creeps in. And your values? They're the compass that guides every decision you make in your business, from how you price your work to the way you respond to a tough customer interaction. When I think about the long-term vision for Pretty Pineapple Bead, I picture a thriving online community of colorful, creative women who feel like their best selves when they wear my jewelry. I want to keep doing DIY events, maybe even working up to doing them weekly. I want to build out courses or tutorials to help others tap into their creativity, not just through jewelry, but through confidence and color. I want to keep doing markets, but maybe hire a small team eventually to help me run them so I'm not burning myself out. And yes, I want my business to reach 5 and even 6 figures a year, because this isn't a side hustle to me, it's the dream. My full-time, freedom-giving, joy-sparking dream. So what about you? What do you see when you picture the most expansive, exciting version of your business 3 to 5 years from now? Do you dream of quitting your day job, building a team, creating a studio space, maybe shipping your products worldwide or teaching others what you know? Take a moment and really let yourself dream big. Your vision doesn't have to look like anyone else's, but the clearer you are about where you want to go, the easier it becomes to take aligned action in the present. Now let's talk about values. For me, Pretty Pineapple Bead is rooted in 6 values: color, creativity, confidence, kindness, positivity, and authenticity. I want my customers to feel those things in every interaction, whether they're shopping my website, chatting with me at a market, or reading an email I sent after a late night bead session. I want my community to feel seen, supported, and inspired, like I'm speaking directly to them, like they matter here, because they absolutely do. So ask yourself, what values matter most to you in your life and business? How do you want people to feel when they interact with your brand? What kind of community are you trying to build? If you're journaling along today, pause and write down your top 3 to 5 values. Then ask yourself, how do these values show up in my content, my packaging, my pricing, my voice? Are there ways I can embody these values more intentionally? And finally, your long-term goals. These can be financial goals, lifestyle goals, impact goals, or all of the above. How much do you want to earn? How do you want to spend your time each week? What impact do you want to have on your customers or your community? Maybe you're dreaming of $60K a year, or maybe it's 6 figures. Maybe it's being able to take Fridays off to spend with your kids. Whatever your version of success looks like, define it, name it, and give yourself permission to go after it, because you are so capable, and the business you're building has the power to change your life. Foundation number 6, visibility strategy. Let's move on to a topic that I know every business owner has struggled with at some point, visibility. Because let's be honest, it's one thing to build a business, it's another thing entirely to get it seen. And I want to start this part with a truth bomb. You do not have to be everywhere. I know that might sound strange coming from someone who's currently on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, Pinterest, email, blogging, and yeah, even a little bit of TikTok. But hear me out. Visibility is not about spreading yourself thin across every platform. It's about choosing the spaces where your dream customer is already hanging out and showing up there consistently with intention. When I first started Pretty Pineapple Bead, I thought I had to do everything at once. Every platform, every trend, every strategy I saw other makers doing. I was overwhelmed and burned out and still wasn't seeing the growth that I wanted. It wasn't until I got really clear on who I was trying to reach and how I wanted them to feel that I started actually seeing some results. Right now, I focus most of my energy on Instagram, my email list, and my blog. That's where I can really connect. Instagram allows me to show up through reels, stories, polls, and carousels. Email gives me a space to go deeper with my community, and my blog helps me build long-term searchability, especially with Pinterest. If you're just starting out or trying to get back on track, here's what I suggest. Pick 1 to 2 primary platforms where you enjoy creating content and where your customer is already active. If you're a visual brand like mine, Instagram or Pinterest might make the most sense. If you love writing or storytelling, maybe blogging or email becomes your hub. Commit to a consistency, not perfection. Showing up once a week with heart and intention is so much more powerful than burning out trying to post every single day. Create a cadence you can actually sustain. And start building relationships, not just reach. Visibility isn't just about views or followers. It's about connection. Ask questions, use polls, respond to comments and DMs. Let your audience know there's a real human behind the brand. And spoiler alert, that's what they fall in love with anyways. And here's one of the most surprising things I've learned. Sometimes your least polished content is what resonates the most. The unfiltered reel, the messy workspace pic, the post where you talk about something real and vulnerable, that's the stuff that sticks. Remember, visibility isn't just about being seen, it's about being recognized, being remembered, and that only happens when you show up as yourself. So if you've been feeling stuck or invisible, I want to invite you to zoom out and ask yourself these questions. Where does your dream customer hang out? What kind of content do you enjoy creating? Are you showing up in a way that feels authentic to you? And what small step could you take this week to be more visible on your terms? Maybe that's posting your first reel, sending a short email, or finally telling your audience what makes your brand different. Whatever it is, take the step, even if it's small, even if it's messy, because the more you show up, the more your people can find you. Here's a little bonus, lessons I've learned the hard way. This one's a biggie. If I could go back in time and give early business me a pep talk, here's what I'd say. You only fail if you give up. That's it. That's the truth. The single most important lesson I've learned in my business journey so far. Because let me tell you, I've wanted to give up more times than I can count. There were markets where I made almost no sales and drove home crying. There were launches that flopped after weeks of planning and teasing. There were days where I questioned everything, my products, my pricing, my brand, and myself. But here's the thing I didn't realize in those moments. Those weren't failures. They were experiences. They were redirections. They taught me what not to do, what to do differently next time, what to focus on, where to pour my energy. One of the hardest lessons I learned was about trying to do too much too soon. In the beginning, I wanted to make everything, sell everything, be everywhere. I thought the more I offered, the more successful I'd be. Spoiler alert, it just made me exhausted and unfocused. What I really needed was foundation. I needed clarity on my why. I needed to define my dream customer. I needed to understand what made my jewelry different from the hundreds of other brands out there. I needed to stop chasing more and start building better. And you know what else surprised me? The moment that you think you've got it all figured out, something will change. That's part of entrepreneurship. You'll evolve, your audience will shift, the algorithm will throw you curveballs, life will get in the way. But every single setback, every failure is just a part of the story you're writing. It doesn't mean you're not cut out for this. It means you're doing the work. Here are a few quick truths that I wish more new business owners heard. The people you admire online, they've been doing this for years. You're not behind. Not every product will be a bestseller, and that's okay. You'll learn and adjust. Your first launch probably won't be your biggest, but you're still learning how to launch. That's a skill. You don't need a massive audience to make sales. You just need the right audience. And your dream customer isn't looking for perfection. She's looking for connection. So if you're feeling discouraged, I want you to hear this from me today. You're not doing it wrong. You're just in the messy middle. And that's where all the best growth happens. Let's normalize that. Let's celebrate learning in real time. Let's stop pretending we have it all figured out and instead build businesses that feel good to grow into. All right, friend, if you're still with me, take a big, deep breath. You just did some powerful work by listening through these foundational areas. Whether you're brand new to business or you've been at it a while and needed a refresh, I hope this episode sparked some clarity and confidence. But before you go, I've got a little challenge for you because listening is just one part of the process. The real growth happens when you take action. So here it is. Your challenge this week is to journal your own answers to the prompts we covered today. If you're starting from scratch, use this episode to define your first version of your foundations. And if you've been in business for a while, revisit what you wrote when you first started. What still feels true? What needs to evolve? Here are just a few reflection questions to get you started. What's your why for starting or continuing your business? Who is your dream customer and how can you speak directly to her? What makes your brand identity and your niche different from others in your space? What are your long-term goals and how will your values guide you there? Where will you show up to connect with your people? And what lessons are you learning or relearning right now? If this episode helped you feel more grounded or inspired, I would love to hear about it. Share your biggest aha moment on Instagram or Threads and tag me at Sparkle and Shine Podcast. You can even DM me your answers if you want to keep them more private. I truly love connecting with you. And if there's a specific area from today's episode that you want to dive deeper into, maybe dream customers, content strategy, brand voice, or niche building, DM me and let me know. I want to create future episodes that support you exactly where you are. Let's build the kind of businesses we actually want to run, the kind that feel aligned, empowering, and sustainable. You've got this, friend. Thanks for tuning in to Sparkle and Shine. If today's episode gave you clarity, courage, or just a comforting reminder that you're not alone, consider leaving a review, sharing this episode with a biz bestie, or subscribing so that you never miss a pep talk. Until next time, keep showing up, keep dreaming big, and keep sparkling.